Do your players love to dive into the net and get control of things like turrets and get files and control different vehicles? Well, if you have a group that does a lot of net running, you may consider picking up the Netrunning Deck. So today I'm going to go through what's included in this, how to use it, and if it's worth your money. Let's start with what it is. So this Netrunning Deck is used to help organize and visualize net runs. What's included in the deck? Well, we have programs, black ice, demons, and floor cards. Talking through programs first, this is what your Netrunner player is actually going to use to represent what they have installed on their cyber deck. These programs are tools so that they can help fight and protect against what they encounter in the net. So starting with the programs, we have a program for each one of the entries in the core rulebook, and these are what is actually on the Netrunner's cyber deck. So this is what they're going to have in front of them to navigate each individual net run. Now I did want to point out that the flak does have a typo on it, so just be aware of that. Instead of it being the attacker program run against you by 0, you're going to reduce it to 0. So there are a couple typos, and I'll point out another one here in a little bit. The next set is the floor cards, and these are either places where you need to input information or a stopping point where you get desired information. So we have 3 control nodes, 3 passwords, and 1 file. So just so everyone knows, there are these different DV values listed, and you will basically just tell the Netrunner which DV they're aiming for whenever they flip over these cards. And finally, we have Black Ice. Black Ice are 27 of the core Black Ice cards, and then also 3 demons. So Black Ice can have 3 different types, and these are things that your players are going to encounter when they're trying to net run. They're essentially the barriers that the net runners have to overcome in order to get to their desired information or control node so that they can control something like a turret or a vehicle. So these have some duplicates depending on if they are black ice that are more common than others. But as you can see, each of them have the different stats listed here and what type of black ice they are, as well as any special abilities that they have. And as promised, here is the other typo. So instead of does 3d6 damage at the top here, it should say it does 2d6 damage. So that is the typo on the Hellhound, just so you are aware. In a subsection of Black Ice are the demons, and these are intelligent software that its main intention is to protect their net architecture. So they're actually going to attack those in meat space using the control nodes of whatever net run is happening at that given point in time. So these are red with their different stats here and are additional ways that you can mix up the net runs. Okay, so how do we actually use this Netrunning deck? Here's an example of a net architecture from one of the missions in Tales of the Red. And what you would do as a GM is you would pre-plan and set aside these different floors so that when you get to this section of the mission, you're ready to go to reveal these different floors to your Netrunner. So I'm going to go ahead and look for each of these in my deck and put them in order. Alright, so as you can see, I have found all of the different cards that are needed for this net architecture, and I'm going to put them in order and flip them upside down for my Netrunner. And then we're going to put them in the order of this architecture. So we're going to start there, and you would just put this like this on the table and continue to go down, but for purposes here, I'm just going to start a new column. Now, once you have this all set up, then one by one, you will flip over the cards and they will encounter each floor as such. So here is the first black ice with the killer. If they are successful in defeating it, then you will turn it upside down to indicate that. Then you would reveal the next one, which is your password. If they're able to pass the DV for this specific example, which was DV8, then you will turn it sideways to indicate that they've gotten past the password. Next, we have a control node, again a DV value here to make sure that they can actually control it. And then you will continue on if they choose to. Here's another black ice. If they continue, then you would turn it upside down. Continuing down the architecture, we have a password again, another control node, and then the example that I showed on the screen has two different branches. So you would show that as well, starting with the revealed file, and then another password to get to the final control node. And a quick reminder that the Netrunning Deck has instructions, a PDF on our Talsorian's Games website, so it might be useful to download that and just do a quick read through to make sure that you are using the deck correctly. My review for this Netrunning deck is that it's great for visualization and organization. One of the main benefits of having this deck is that you could pre-put together the expected net runs. But a challenge I ran into is that because there were only 7 floor cards, which are your files and passwords, which come up quite often, I couldn't actually make complete sets of the net runs that I thought would come up during a session, just because I needed more of those cards. Now, a potential fix for this would be to create your own and then put everything in card sleeves. So that might be something that I do down the line just to kind of play with that and fix it a little bit. But I would have preferred if they had included more of those floor cards and less of the repeat black ices. In addition to saving some time because you were pre-planning and also there's less back and forth explaining what the netrunner encounters, there was a sense of camaraderie or involvement from everyone at the table. So before, sometimes I felt net running was between the GM and that specific netrunner, and it was just a back and forth and everyone else kind of was pushed to the sideline. Whereas now, when you could see on the table what the netrunner was encountering, it was something engaging for everyone at the table. So although they might not be directly involved, they could see what was happening, they could feel like they were a little bit more part of the process. So that was definitely a benefit. Overall, I do feel like this was nice to have, particularly if you have a group that really likes to net run. If you have multiple net runners in your group, I would highly recommend picking this up, but know that it's not essential for your gameplay. You can certainly play the net running feature and rules without having this deck, but if you do choose to buy it, it will help with saving a little bit of time and organization, as well as maybe bringing more people into the net running experience. Hopefully you enjoyed my review of the Netrunning deck, and if you would like to see more Cyberpunk Red RPG content, I have some more videos on that. Let me know down in the comments if there's any specific topics you would like me to cover on this RPG, because I love diving into this universe and learning more about it as I go. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.